Hi everyone, and welcome to Peppercorn AI, the cool stuff. And this is our first meeting for couple for 3 weeks actually. So one of them was to go on a business trip, and the other one was it was another business trip actually, but it was only to Croydon, but we in there, so that's good. So and we've got somebody else logging in as well. That's brilliant. So as always, we'll kick off by quickly going around the room and introducing ourselves. And this week, we normally give a little question, and my question this week is I've got a twofold question actually. One is what's your go-to AI bot, which is something we've asked before, and the other one is if AI could instantly take away something that you do every week, what would it be? So, Mike.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, Mike Granger. Hello, everybody. Financial planner at the moment, semi-retired, living in Austria. Um, my go-to AI bot is ChatGPT at the moment, although I'm playing around with Gemini. It's just they've started charging for it, which I'm not happy about. So I may not use that anymore, but I do use things like Notebook LLM and so forth with them. But that's basically me.
Wonderful. And how's your German?
And nix too good.
Nicht gut.
Good. Have we thrown you out? And good. Lorraine, are you there? Or you're on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to introduce yourself as
Yeah,
introduce?
hi. Hi everyone. I'm Lorraine. I'm a financial educator, and my chatbot, because I put in a question, what do you mean? It's like Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use Chat GPT, and if they could actually replace what I'm doing at the moment, or what I need to do is actually make some calls to people and get some leads for me.
Prospecting bot.
Prospecting bot, yeah.
Uh, is it is it going to call the numbers? Well, that might be possible actually already. Are they going to call your leads, or do you want them to spam call people until somebody says yes?
Well, I don't know if spam calling, they've got to be some kind of relation going on there.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure because nobody likes spam calling, and the first thing you do is put the phone down. So I'm not sure how that will work, but it's got to be some kind of
link
a
there.
little bit warm, lukewarm
Okay.
or warm.
Yeah, well, this is the trouble. Like you're in a similar sort of situation to me with prospecting, and I've got 5,000 people in my contacts now. Um, some of those I've spoken to 10 years ago, and they said no. So, I mean, you can't really call them back and say 10 years later and said, I've been hanging on to your number just in case, because I haven't like kept up with them regularly. Obviously, the thing is, you're saying no now. Is it okay if I call you back in 3 months? They always say
Yeah,
yes because they want to get rid of you. So
yeah,
so it's I guess it is possible if you build the list properly. Trouble is you don't want an electronic voice going out
no,
through your
no,
prospecting. So you'd have to
no,
sound like the AI would have to sound exactly like you, react
yeah,
like you. It would have to have a personality transplant that was you,
yeah, and
and then
there's
you
got
could
to be
just
some.
relax while it does all its phone calls.
It's got to have because it's about building relationships, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's got to be. I mean, I'm talking about it as if that I'm talking to myself. It's got to be, that relational thing that comes first.
Mm.
And I don't know. It's kind of like
Or maybe
there's stuff.
AI isn't. Yeah,
Go on.
because it's a people business, isn't it? So it's the same as what Mike does and what Shirley does, what I do. It's kind of
Yeah,
a people business, so it's not really.
yeah,
Maybe it's not AI is not the a great vehicle at the moment until
yeah.
until you can clone
Apart from
yourself.
anything else, Lorraine, it's illegal. It's illegal for you to use an AI to call anybody unless you've spoken to them before and got their permission. So be very
Yeah,
careful. It
Oh,
really
right.
yeah,
is.
yeah,
We haven't got the tools
yeah,
anyway, so it's all right. So
I
Shirley,
wonder, I've just had a thought. I wonder if AI could actually say, right, I'm going to phone David, not spoken to him for so long. Give me some ideas of how I can approach this conversation so that
Yeah,
David,
you can certainly do
it'll
that.
do that.
It'll do that for
because
sure.
that would be more kind of relational. That would be more
Yeah.
kind of genuine. Do you understand
Yeah,
me?
you could have like your CRM, and you've got my notes, and I've got a dog called sort of Albert, and he's got a bad, he had a broken claw last time, or what, did they have claws, dogs? Yeah, had a broken nail or something last time I spoke to him. You won't remember that, but the CRM then comes up and says, hey, don't forget
Yeah.
to remember, ask about the dog, and that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. That'll be good. David's really worried about the dog. He's posted it on LinkedIn or
Yeah.
Facebook. You know, that's yeah. So yeah, something like that.
So you could have things like that. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, thank
Right,
you.
Shirley.
Hi. Did you mean me or did
Yeah,
you
I did
mean
you.
Jay?
Yeah, Shirley. No, no, I said Shirley.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Shirley. I work in health and wellness and I love helping people. However, what AI do I use at the moment? Whenever I'm forced to, I look at ChatGPT. I've used Gemini to create a lovely picture for me for a poster,
Yeah.
but I'm not very what shall I say? It's not something that comes easily. I don't just jump to AI for anything. And what would I like AI to do for me? That one is really, really difficult because I love the things that I do, including washing the dishes. So
Also, actually, there are robots coming around. We did a segment last time on robots, didn't we? So there's
I,
it's
I,
possible.
I actually do have a dishwasher, but I never use it because there's only two of us.
I do. We just keep putting it in till it's full, and then switch it on. Excellent. Right. Thanks, Shirley. Jane, welcome.
Yeah.
How
Hi
are you
there.
doing?
Gentrack 40, we do IT systems for small and medium-sized businesses with a strong focus on Linux and open source. And with everybody talking about data sovereignty now, it's getting hot. But yeah, that'd be interesting. I would like a robot to do all the household chores, which I think well, I don't enjoy washing dishes or anything else. But also I think I found somebody on YouTube called Dr. Alex Weatherby, I think his name is. He's a genuine A&E doctor, but his videos are so polished and so numerous and so articulate that there's a lot of debate apparently about whether it's AI generated or at least enhanced. So I think I'd like AI to enhance some of my less articulate speeches and put them up to YouTube. Smooth, professional, brilliant, convincing. Yeah, so I think that's the two aspects of my life that could definitely be improved by AI.
You could you could send your AI off to do networking meetings and just
Yes. How do you know I'm not?
exactly. Yeah, you can make it so it's like a little bit flawed so that people don't think it's like my arm disappearing every now and again. You can program that in. So,
That comes very easily to me, David.
Dave.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Dave Caudle. I'm a career coach. I work with young people and adults, and I show them how to navigate their career journey and get jobs they love that support the lifestyle they want. Yeah, AI is my go-to is Copilot at the moment, and then for little silly questions, Pi is still my go-to on my phone, and it's yeah, help me solve this crossword clue or something like that. So not for business and serious stuff,
Yeah.
but Copilot seems good, and I find it's good for creating prompts to then put into Canva to create presentations and things like that.
Right.
If I could have AI do anything, just all my marketing, nothing much, just all my marketing would be brilliant.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Because we all have to do marketing. When you're a small single man,
Yes.
one person business, you've got to do everything, and marketing is one of the most difficult things, I think, because we all know our jobs. We all know what we do. I do websites, and that's fine, but you've got to get someone to buy the websites. It's
Yes.
to buy the hosting, and that's the bit that's the problem, isn't it? So which is why we do this networking stuff, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
excellent. Thanks, Dave. Samuel, welcome. Tell us a bit about you. What is it that you do in your day job or your life or whatever?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Samuel Obigbesa. Excuse me. I'm a pastor and also a financial educator, a teacher as well. What I will prefer AI would do is I've been able to use quite of ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Perplexity, and a bit of what do you call it, Cloud. But
Cool.
I'll cloud it. So not with coding, but just in researching and in trying to get across to people in terms of better understanding of information. And also I'm so much passionate about using it to transport, kind of creating an intellectual property in terms of books and in terms of ideas to people out there. So I would like if I have more of that AI that can give you more exposure to different kind of more information in depth that will make it more easier and faster instead of researching them by myself.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There is deep research and stuff that will do stuff for you, isn't there? It'll go off and do your research and then come back with a comprehensive answer. So I think it might be possible. And but thanks, Samuel, and welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
And I'm David Harris, and when I'm not running Peppercorn, I'm doing I'm creating websites and hosting websites and sorting stuff out, stuff that gets broken, which I love. No, I don't love. I feel sorry for my clients, but I love it when something stops working. You just got a blank screen, or a or just a number with an error next to it and doesn't tell you what it actually is. I love those. Right, excellent. So that's me. My go-to AI is Gemini because it comes with my Google stuff. But my favorite AI is Claude because it's just good. Even though I'm subscribing, it still runs out of. I have to be careful how I use it because it runs out of bandwidth really quickly, and you end up having to wait. You'll have to go away till 2 p.m. It's 11 o'clock. It says you have to go away till 2 p.m. when you're allowed your next tranche of IO. And I think, oh, for God's sake. So then I revert to Gemini. And so I do all the silly stuff on Gemini, and anything serious that I need a really good response, then I go to Claude. Okay, let's go back up to the top. So what's happening this week, I guess, is if anyone's following the news with AI, would be IPO, the IPO stampede. There's going to be blank faces. IPO is initial public offering, which is where, especially in America, where a privately owned company sells its shares to the general public for the first time and gets listed on the stock exchange. So it's, I guess, things like OpenAI and Claude, which are the two, Anthropic, which are the two that have gone to market last week, are moving into going onto the stock market instead of having a few investors putting in billions or trillions. It's then going to be everyone. They're asking everyone for money rather than just their rich mates. So it ends up on as a public offering. So it gives an opportunity for the people who have invested big time to get some of their cash out, I guess, because they can sell the shares. But it is a bit of a risk because all your books have got to be made public. So everyone will know what's been going on for the last few years with OpenAI. I haven't read anything about it. I just know that that's what they're doing. So I haven't seen any. I know Anthropic have done something called a confidential filing, which means that they've submitted it to the regulator, but it's for private review, but it's not being made public yet. So it's yeah. So that's the main thing I've seen mostly on the news. OpenAI, their confidential, their paperwork valued itself at $852 billion, which used to be a lot of money, but but now they're talking in trillions. And Claude, amazingly, is that they valued themselves at $965 billion, which is a little bit more than OpenAI, which I thought it would have been the other way around, but so we'll see. And last week, I see the AI chips and stocks lost $1.3 trillion in a single day on their stocks, which doesn't matter to anyone. It just means that the people, it doesn't matter to us using AI. It just means that people who are betting on them had a slight panic attack. But it was, but by Tuesday, it was back to where it was. So it gained another 1.3 trillion by Tuesday. So it's kind of it's these stock market mood swings could be quite worrying, I suppose, especially if you've got your pension stuck in one. It's you think, what are they doing with my money? So it's but I think AI would be counted as a risky investment. So I think you, well, I know you choose, don't you, where you want them to put your money, and if you want them to put it into a dodgy Far East company or into blue chip stocks or not. Okay, ChatGPT is rolling out a new design. They say it's going to be the biggest redesign since they launched. We don't know what it looks like yet, but it can be out soon, apparently. So, right now, I'm this next bit I've kind of read about before, like ages ago, but I think it's going to change the world, and it's the Meteor One, which is a new chip from China. And I say China in that way because it's kind of, we've got Trump to thank for it in many ways. And I've made a slideshow, so I'm going to use it. So it's so I quite often make slideshows and they never see the light of day. But this one I'm gonna share. So can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So it's right. So now my Zoom window is covering my script. So that's good. Right. Well, we've been told for years that the race for artificial intelligence is a software war, and it's not. It's a hardware war. And right now, on a molecular level, the rules of physics and global power are being rewritten, and this is because of something called photonic computing. So you know, history shows that when you back brilliant minds into a corner, they don't surrender. They break the board and invent a new game. And this doesn't start. I mean, the story doesn't start in a laboratory. It starts in Washington because Trump brought in aggressive export controls, so to try and put a stranglehold on China's tech sector. The goal was simply block them from buying elite AI super weapons like NVIDIA's highest tier graphics cards. And that was meant to be a technological checkmate. But instead of triggering a slowdown, it kind of triggered a revolution in China. And they probably knew already, but they realized that they've got to do something extraordinary. And I think they are. So um, Chinese researchers have seen that they're running, traditional chips are running out of road, and so they didn't try and copy the silicon chips in America. What they're doing, because you hit two brick walls. One is heat, as we all know. It's generates these NVIDIA chips generate masses and masses of heat, which is one of the biggest problems. It's one of the green arguments against AI is the fact you're spending so much money on cooling down data centers that it's, I think 40 or 50% is spent in actually in the environment of the data center rather than the actual machines themselves. And something called quantum tunneling, that's going to confuse people. It confuses me because it's when you push trillions of electrons through tiny copper wires, it creates that friction heat anyway. And now electrons eventually ignore the laws of physics and go through solid walls, causing short circuits. It's a well-known phenomenon in electronics, but it's kind of a it's called it means you lose data, so it's got to be resent. So it's they do know it's missing, but it's one of those phenomena. So so it's I'm losing my place. So so obviously they're looking at a new paradigm. Don't know why I got that slide there. There's yeah, and here we are. So we've got a 40%. We're having like a 40% loss of sort of, well, wasted on cooling. That's without the environmental cost or maintaining the environment within the data center itself. That's just cooling down the machines. So it's taking a huge part of the bill. So so the Chinese have brought out or a couple of Chinese companies have developed a Meteor One chip, and it uses photons, not electrons. So it works through light rather than electricity. And it's when you use light, the light's moving through microscopic glass pathways. There's zero heat at all. It's not just not creating as much heat, it's creating zero heat because there's no friction, because lights are going through there, and there's no tunneling issues either because there's not electrons bouncing around all over the place. Light is very straight when it moves. So and it's obviously photons running at the speed of light by their nature. So they're in a totally different physical regime from silicon. So it's this sort of stuff blows my mind. But you can send when you send a beam of light through a tiny, minuscule, microscopic piece of glass, it can be you can have loads and loads of lanes going through the same thing, because they can all be slightly different frequencies. They all think of it as colors. So each one of those can be broken down into lots of different colors. The ones that they're using now splits a beam of light into 100 different colors. So each one of those 100 colors carries its own data stream. So that's why it's sort of a bit mind-boggling. So you get 100 lanes of computation within the same chip on each single microscopic strand of glass. So it's so the benchmark on the Meteor One photonic chip sits in between the chips they're allowed to buy, which is the for 4090, and the super fast chips they're bringing out now, which is the 5090. But they've only just started with the Meteor. You know, they're definitely going to speed that up. So even now that they're looking at this as being, they haven't built a data center with it yet. They're not at that stage, but they're looking at this with, you know, this looks like this is going to be in a few years' time. This could well be faster than a silicon chip, and it could be that they start building data centers with it. So it's a little bit not theoretical, because it is actually working, but it's at the moment it's still in the development stage. So so that's you know, it's making it it's making software work with light-based hardware. So I'm going to stop that share now.
Is that just in development in China, do you know, David? Or
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it could be
yeah.
Russia or
No, it's just China as far as I know. That's the only one I've seen, and they've invested a lot of money in it, and they've got their best. They've got a lot of their best minds working on it. So it's kind of they obviously think that's the next stage. It's not there yet, you know, but it's pretty. And when you think about it, it's going to be an awesome step forward. But they wouldn't be investing these billions if they weren't certain it was going to do something.
Well, it would just do away with the need for data, you know,
Yeah.
centers, which we know isn't really sustainable. We don't have the, you know, resources to do it, do
No,
we?
no, that's right. And it's going to use it uses a lot of water. It uses a lot of electricity. It's kind of everyone wants to use AI, but nobody wants to have a data center sat next to where they live. You know, that there's so it's potentially. I mean, I think it's more than potential. I think obviously Trump might have shot himself in the foot, or shot the Americans in the foot by stopping China from having these. Well, I guess I think they might have gone down this line anyway, because that they started it 12 months ago, the actual project.
Really?
And
Oh,
yeah, they started it in July 2025, and they had the theory. Now they've actually got the chips actually working, but it's interfacing those chips with other hardware, with the software and the hardware, and I'm sure they'll crack it. I mean, but it might take some years, and obviously with the silicon, they actually want the data centers sort of nowish. So I don't think it will. I don't think it will change the world just yet, but it will put China in the driving seat. And I can't imagine the Americans are not aware that this is coming down the road, and they must be working on it themselves. We just haven't heard about it. So, which is unusual for us to hear about something coming out of China and not coming out of America, but it's
very refreshing, really.
it's or maybe I just haven't seen it. Maybe it has, and I just haven't seen it. But it's obviously China's got a lead on this. I mean, it's yeah. So I think it's quite.
Do we ever hear anything coming out of Russia though, at any time?
Russia haven't got the resources. The Russia are so far behind. It's just not true. They import their technology from Iran. There's the people don't realize that the GDP of Russia is smaller than the GDP of Italy.
Oh, wow.
It's just they've got a lot of legacy hardware from the Cold War, and they've got, you know, a million soldiers, and they spend, like, we're cribbing about spending 3% of our GDP on arms. They spend something like 20-30% on arms. So people have got a much lower standard of living and a much higher budget for armaments. So it's kind of an immoral society, if you ask me, but that's the way they do it, you know. And people think it's immoral that we're going to be spending 5% on so you imagine doing what the Russians are doing. So it's kind of so it's kind of Russia are you know, they do have their clever people obviously, and they've got their hackers, and which is their main weapon, but developing new stuff, no.
Not good.
They're it's not going to
Interesting.
happen. Because even their drones, they've been buying from Iran. I think that might have dried up because Iran wants to use them themselves, I guess. But there's, there's a sort of they don't want to start selling them off to Russia. But obviously, if yeah, I suppose it's one of the spin-offs. Where are we? Okay, excellent. So that's it's a good thing. Where's the other thing I was looking at? There's been changes with Notebook LM, which is I think is pretty good. Let me just I'll share my screen again. Actually. We'll look at. So look, so that's Notebook LM. They've now, you don't have to, before you could drop in your sources or you could give in a topic. But if you just keyed in, search you on, just keyed in the Battle of Trafalgar, just that's it. It'll go, it'll find the resources yourself, and it'll find the best resources on the web. So it'll look at okay, so let's just import those sources. It's gone to Wikipedia. You can do a more comprehensive search, and I'll show you that in a second. And then it'll import all these. Hasn't imported all of them, but it's rejected one of them. So then it's given me it's given me a solver I didn't really want. But you can then ask a question about the Battle of Trafalgar. You could ask what happened to the French commander Pierre Charles Villeneuve after the battle, which was quite interesting because he spent a year in a pub in England because he was captured, and then he went home to France, and a few months later he was mysteriously died of some people said he was murdered by Napoleon for being a useless leader, but who knows. But there's let me just go back to there. So here we did sources was exactly the same. I did a bigger search, and it's gone through more sources. It went through 35 sources. It took a few minutes, but you know, when it's doing it itself, you don't really need to worry. You can just leave it going through, and it's done sort of. It's gone through Britannia, and it's even gone to Grokkopedia, which is Elon Musk's version of history. It's pulled down all those things, and and then I asked it to do these things. Take time. You've got all these things on the top right here. So and this is notebooklm.google.com if you're not familiar with it. And then but you can pull in any resources from any any document, any website, any YouTube video. It will pull all the information off there, and then you can ask it questions on those sources. And you can do these slide deck. I asked it to do a cartoony slide deck, which it did. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
That's good.
And it's so it did I didn't do anything other than just I've only put in 3 words about the Trafalgar, and then I've put in a slide deck with cartoon style. So it gives you the details of the battle and crack boom. You see, you've even got like the Batman sort of things there as well. So it's and so I thought that was pretty good. And then I tried this morning. I tried a video, a cinematic video that I
In
haven't looked at yet.
1805, Napoleon Bonaparte had assembled a massive army on the coast of France, waiting for a clear path across the English Channel. The only thing standing between him and the invasion of Britain was a wooden wall, the Royal Navy. To secure that crossing, the French and Spanish fleets combined forces.
I think there's an awful lot of ships there on that thing because they although the French and Spanish did have more ships than the British, it was you're talking about 30 odd ships they had and 20 odd ships the British. These are battleships, not support ships, but I mean there's I don't think they're it's kind of over egging that sort of particular thing because it's AI generated, but it's pretty good. I mean you can have, and you can even what we've shown before is the you can have like just a pure audio overview or a conversation, like a blog. You can create a blog as well. So I thought that was a good one. And Claude, they launched a new version out on June the 9th, which was 3 days ago, and I've been trying it out. I don't know if you remember, but Claude brought out Mythos April, and it hacked into government websites, bank accounts, and exposed security holes in loads of software before anyone could switch it off again. And so they've nerfed it, at least for us mortals anyway. And they've released a version which is called Fable 5, which is an awesome version if you're doing nice legal stuff. And it's and I've been and I was using it as well. I've been using it for the last few days. Trouble is, you can only use it with a paid account, and you can only use it up until June the 21st, and then you've got to have the top version of their account. But it's only because there's too many people using it. They're gonna increase the thing. Lorraine, do you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, David. I just wanted to ask a question. You know the notebook IM?
LM, yeah.
Oh, is that LM? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a chat bot?
It is.
Is everyone, is it there for everyone? Does it have any disadvantages in terms of your?
At the moment, it's totally free, and it's got no limits. It's got no limits, so you can create any notebooks that you like. What it's good for, if you've got like a manuals, like I've got, like, for somebody I work for, we had about 4 or 5 manuals, and we just loaded those into Notebook LM and then produced a better version, or you can use it to query what's in those manuals. Like if you want to know the rules around a certain action, you can just ask, and it will consult those manuals and give you the answer. So it's great for referencing. Or you can just put in a website, like you can just put in a website or a YouTube video, because providing the YouTube video has got a script with it, which it will have because they auto generate them. So it is probably one of the best free bits of kit on the web, I think.
Okay.
So, and then but it's limited to what you give it.
Okay.
So it's not like it won't go out to the internet and pull in extra information. It will only work with what you've given it. So that's kind of what makes it. Otherwise, you could just go to Gemini, and obviously there are limits with Gemini, but they're really generous, the Gemini limits, unlike the Claude, which are really stingy. So there's so you can get those. Anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, okay, brilliant. So so it's Fable 5, yeah. He's got the usual stuff with it's with it coming out with loads of figures that it beats all the other AIs, and every AI beats all the other AIs until the next one comes out. But the fact that Claude has had the most downloads for the last 6 months on a monthly basis for the app out of all of the AIs. So I think it is something that's worth doing. I was going to try and risk it, trying to create an app in 5 minutes, but I'm a bit reticent, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to share the screen again. So this is Claude. We've got Fable 5. So this is one that it created for me earlier. So I said, well, what would be a good example? It said, build me an interactive quote calculator for a garden landscaping business. Customers choose lawn turfing by square meters, patio or decking by size, and optional extras like lighting and planting. Show a running price estimate with VAT and finish with request this quote summary that they could email. Make it look clean and professional with a green color scheme. Right, I'm going to do it, and we'll see what it does.
It's thinking.
Don't let me down. It should show us the working out and everything. So it's okay.
That was quick.
Mm. It is that is because you can do these things on Gemini, but you can that's it, it's done it already. I can't believe it. So it's it used to do it in a separate window, but with it, I don't think it's quite finished because it's still got this so it's still doing it. So okay. So it's it can repackage it. Then it's telling me it can repackage it so I can put it on a website. So so it says this is just illustrative, that I've got to have it as a proper I've got to put it on a website for it to work. It's I don't think it's so request this quote, email this quote. Okay. That would work on a website, but it's not going to work straight from this background. But you could think of any 200 meter squares. What's the least you could have? Could you have 1 meter square? Or 5 meters, the least you could have. And so yeah, so it does. So you can do your size of patio. I guess it gives people a good idea of how much it's gonna cost them. So we're sort of we're there. So yeah, so that worked better than I thought and quicker than I thought. So I'm hoping it's going to be able to create WordPress plugins because it can already. So but I'm happy to be able to do them that quick and that accurately, because the biggest problem is that with all the AIs is that you get it produce a WordPress plugin, you put it on the website and it don't work. So it's kind of a bit of a disappointment, really. So then you keep going back to it, say, well, this don't work, or it's come up with this error, and you go backwards and forwards for about a day, you know, and then eventually you get a working model that then throws up a different error 2 days later, you know. So I'm hoping that when they get that right, which they're getting better every time. They couldn't even do a WordPress plugin, say like a year ago. So when they get that right, that's going to give people, going to make things easy for a lot of people. The other one I've been using a totally different subject, a WordPress plugin called Breakdance. So I've been breakdancing this week, and it makes life so much easier to create websites because it makes it super lightweight, super fast. The biggest problem with WordPress is that everything's really slow, and it runs like a dog. And it's when you do speed tests and everything, they always come up really bad. You know, like the best you can do. I don't know if you know about Google speed test insights, but the best you can do is get it in the amber, which is the okay range. Getting them in the green is really difficult. You need really good hosting, and you need a super lightweight WordPress site. And Breakdance seems to do all that. So it's I've done 2 websites with it this week, and they've both come out awesomely. So it's and that's again that they're using AI within the build. You can actually sort of when you're building it, you can ask it, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it'll come up with the answers. And to be fair, Gemini knows about it already. So you don't even need the AI on the Gemini, because you can have 2 side-by-side windows on Chrome, for instance. You can split your window into 2 and have the last quarter as being Gemini, and just keep asking it questions, and it'll keep giving you the answers, and you can build your website that way. Mind you don't want that to get out, otherwise people will start doing their own websites on it. That won't do. Right. Not sharing my screen still.
No.
Yeah, ChatGPT super app. We covered that before. They reckon that 5.5 has had 50% fewer hallucinations. That means there's still hallucinations. So it's I was reading something where it said that there's no way of ever getting rid of the hallucinations completely within ChatGPT's model because of the way it works. You know, it kind of tries to predict what it is you want, and it's kind of so yeah.
Don't they all work on that basis then, David? Like Claude, Grok, and all the rest?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's never going to be super accurate.
Mm.
And DeepSeek in China again, back in China again. DeepSeek is a really good AI, and it's pretty comparable to most of the others. But they've just made a 75% price cut in their premium versions, so that's causing a bit of disconnect. Sort of disconcerting some people, because it's dramatically cheaper than the Western rivals. This is for APIs. Pinterest have already switched its open models. It was already switched its AI to Chinese DeepSeek, and it reckons it saved 90% of its money it was spending on AI. So it's worth. I don't know how that works. 75% price cut, and they're saving 90%. But that's what they say. Well, no, it's probably some sort of form of math that I don't understand. So, but you know, it's probably so I guess yeah. I don't know. And I although I know DeepSeek is a really good, I never use it. So I don't know why. So where did we go? We've done that with Hello as well. China, we spoke a few weeks ago about robots, and we were talking briefly earlier about robots. Something that can do the washing up and folding the laundry. I guess you want sort of LG have brought out something called Claude, which is irritatingly close to Claude if you've got a bit of an accent, you know. If you sounds like a West Country Claude, doesn't it? I can't say it now. A West Country Claude is Cloyd. So and it's been folding up laundry and loading up dishwashers and preparing food with appliances and using whisks and cooking stuff on the cooker and without blowing itself up. So it's been it's I think it's yeah it's part of their vision for the zero labor home. Does that mean we just sit on the settee and do absolutely nothing, you know? Because historically AI has done all the fun stuff, you know, it's taken away the things we like to do when we're on the computer and leaving us free to do more housework. Whereas what people really want is AI to do the boring stuff, isn't it? So there's the IX Neo, and it's actually you can actually buy them now. IX Neo. It's got transparent pricing, and it's got confirmed deliveries as well. And again, it can tidy, handle objects, learn your household routines, and it's apparently quite quiet. Doesn't sound like a steam engine as it's walking around, and it's designed not to stand on your toddlers or your Labradors. It says here. So I don't know if that means if Cloyd is a bit clumsy, or if the X Neo is a bit more there. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'd want a robot in my house, because I've watched too many sci-fi films where they get fed up with being slaves and shoot all the inhabitants. And then form their own collective, and eventually they kill everyone on the planet, and then you got a whole planet full of mechanoids.
Black Mirror, isn't it?
yeah. So it's also
We've been watching too much Orville.
the Orville. Yeah. I've been watching the Orville, and that's it's exactly what happened there. There was just they buried all their humans underground, and then they decided they were going to purge the rest of the galaxy while they were at it.
Why not?
So there's Gemini app has got almost a billion users across 230 countries, which is quite impressive. And ChatGPT still leads the chatbot website visits. 55% of all chatbot web visits are via to ChatGPT. But that gap's closing, and then sort of Gemini's got Claude's got the biggest number of downloads in the last 3 months. So people are obviously getting to grips with Claude. And if you're a light user, like you only ask it the odd question, like how do I deal with this person? Like I know sort of my wife, she deals with Sharon. She's inclined to be direct. Let's put it like that, and not as diplomatic as some people would like. So she stops and puts into AI what she wants to say, and it says, no, don't say that, let's put it like this. And then she can give a more diplomatic and more nuanced answer rather than upsetting people. So, and and it can give you difficult conversations. Like a friend of ours texted us this morning to say that her husband dropped dead yesterday, and he's been his her husband was an alcoholic, but he's been 10 years dry and everything, and we sort of didn't know him awfully well. You know, Sharon's friends with his wife. They meet up for coffee and things, but it's kind of and you don't know what to say. You know, you can't say I'm sorry because it's not your fault, and it's kind of it's what do you say to someone and somebody who sends you a WhatsApp with that on it? You know, it's you know, it's apparently the worst thing you can say. Well, he's gone to a better place. It's because you don't know what they're because that can be read in so many different ways, you know. So it's got to be better than Lord Life with you, or he's gone to some heavenly place that's and he'll be having the time of his life, you know, or his death. So I mean, it's kind of it's a difficult. If you've got those difficult conversations, it can give you some clues. You don't have to follow it, of course. You don't have to take the advice, but it can give you some pointers on how to deal with it. And I use it for emails. You know, I tell you, I want to tell this person to fuck off and die, and then it will give me like a better version. Give me
Teach
like
you how to use your vocabulary.
yeah. Can you say that nicely, please, for me? So and sometimes it'll give you 2 or 3 different options, you know. It will say, if you want to be direct, do this. If you want to be, you know, if you were just joking and you were a bit angry, you can, and you want to do a nice one, do this. And if you want to be sort of diplomatic and leave the door open for future relationships, then this, you know. And it's so sometimes they give you different options. So yeah, I think that's what a lot of people, you know, I know that's what a lot of people use it for. That's what my daughter uses it for. It's what my wife uses it for. So, for dealing with officialdom as well, you know. So it can give you a better chance. If you're appealing a parking ticket, you know, it can give you a much better script than if you say, that wanker gave me a ticket and I'd only been there a minute. You know? It'll give you a different appeal. Someone that's trying to melt the heart of the little old lady on the desk who's reading your letter, deciding whether to let you off the parking ticket or not. Except it's probably been scanned into a computer. Anyway,
Okay.
good. Right, I'm going to stop the recording.
Oh yeah, it's 11.